here, paint, Control-M. So we are discussing here web UI technologies. So we are discussing here technologies. Under this, we are discussing here what is the use of main UI. So UI is nothing but it's a user interface. So we can create a user interface, user interactive page. We can create it for the user by using UI technologies. So under this UI technologies, we are going to discuss how we can create an attractive user interface using this content. That is, one is HTML. First days I'll go for HTML4. Then second topic of our course is CSS2. Then third topic is on JavaScript. Then fourth one is on HTML5. Then fifth topic I'll go for CSS3. Then sixth topic I'll go for Jquery. Then seventh I'll go for responsive design. Then eighth I'll go for So this way my content goes. Here HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax. So under this, here HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, Ajax, responsive design. Then ninth topic is lessons as So jQuery and Ajax. This content I'm going to cover it in the front end. So UI is nothing but it's a front end. So we can create that front end page. We can create a front end page by using all these languages. So mainly if you use HTML, HTML is nothing but it's hypertext markup language. So HTML is nothing but it's a hypertext markup language. Here HTML is nothing but it's a hypertext markup language. Just wait for 1 minute. HTML is nothing but it's hypertext markup language. It is mainly used for creating the structure for a web page. It's a completely a markup language. Markup language is nothing but it's a completely a tag based programming. So we write completely no prerequisite for this UI course. So directly you will learn from the HTML only. HTML means directly we learn tags. So what all the tags we required, the tags we'll learn it in this HTML. So what tags are required? Do we need to create a text box or image or a button or a radio button? So whatever is required, that button we usually create it in this markup language. Here we are using here HTML. HTML is nothing but it's a markup language. Under this, here mainly markup language is nothing but it's a tag based. What is a tag? Tag is nothing but it's an instruction to browser. So how you want to design your application? The left side what content, right side what? That left and right alignment we do it by CSS, but content, what content you want to show? Left side one table, right side one image, center with some bordered content. That all alignment, that all structure means content, what image or a radio button or a button or a scrolling image, what you want to display, that we usually write it in a HTML. HTML is a hypertext markup language. So mainly user interface, UI. UI is nothing but it's a user interface. So here we can create a front-end page. Front-end page we can create it by using this user interface. So under this user interface, we can create here left side some content, right side some content. So left and right alignment of a content, we can do it. So left some content, bordered content and navbar content. These all we can create it by using HTML. So HTML is mainly used for hypertext markup language. Here left and right alignment of the content. So left side some scrolling image, right side some scrolling image, and center some content, and the bottom it is a footer. So this type of alignment we can totally structure of a web page. This total structure of a web page we can create it using HTML. HTML mainly create the structure of web page. So this structure of a web page we can create it by HTML. So can we connect any database here? Only with HTML. So only with HTML we cannot connect with any database. So we cannot connect with any database if we use only HTML. So if we use HTML with the CSS and JavaScript, if we use it, then only we can connect with a database, and then only we can execute our code. So if we want to execute our code, means we have to connect with the structure. Mainly structure of a web page we can create it by using HTML. HTML structure, only structure. It won't connect with any database. It won't connect with any alignment of the content. Okay, so every time front end has to interact with a database. So if you create your structure, you are asking for username and password. So enter username, enter password. If you click on the submit button, after submitting your details will go for the server page. Server page, your details has to go for the server page. Inside the server page, here inside the server page, we have to interact with the client page is interacting with your server page. So inside this server page, here is my server page. Here is my server page. So under this server page, we read the detail, read the input from front end. So we usually read the input from the front end. Here we can process the result, process the input by connecting with a database. So we'll connect with a database here. So we make a connection with a connection with the connect to here. We'll connect with we'll read that input. After reading the input, connect with the database and process the so we run the queries here, database queries, and we'll give that result. That result again, it will be a that query related result again will make it as a HTML page. That HTML page will give as the output for our application. So mainly server page. Without server page, we cannot create anything with only front end. So front end only with the front end we cannot create a full application. So Neha, okay, I have to get your ID from the organizer. Today I'll get it. I'll start sending the documents to you. Okay, and tomorrow we'll continue in the same time. But Friday, yeah, Friday onwards. Is it okay? You all 5 people, is it okay? Tomorrow onwards, will you come at 6 a.m.?
Ma'am, 7 a.m. is okay. Ma'am, 7 a.m. timing is okay.
Oh,
Ma'am,
6
7 a.m. timing.
6:30.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
6:30.
Neha. Okay, 6:30. Okay, Sankhya. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Pavan.
Yeah, 6 or 6:30 is fine, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Neha, you only not available now. So is it okay 6:30?
Yeah, start early, no? Like 6 is also fine.
Okay, 6. Neha, will you come 6? Try to make it 6. So do you have any class, Neha, or is it your night shift? Yes, Neha. Other class, huh? Yes, Neha. Do you have other class? Oh, okay. Yeah. So make it 6:30. So tomorrow onwards we'll meet at 6:30. We'll continue the syllabus at 6:30 to 7:30. Okay. So that link you try to get it. That 6 a.m. link you try to get it from the organizer. Okay. Tomorrow onwards every day it will be 6:30 to 7:30. Okay. 6:30 to 7:30. Yeah. Here always we have the server. Yes. Thank you. Server page we have to connect with a database here. Server page it has to connect with the database. With that database only we can make it here. With that database only we'll get that output. Yeah, Neha, I'll connect with the organizer. I'll today I'll get the mail IDs who are registered with organizer. They will send them all list of mail IDs to me. So for that list of mail IDs sake, I'll start sending the document. Tomorrow we start at 6:30, so it will be a regular session. So demos are done. Today also I'll cover the continuation session. Just in introduction I'll give you, then I'll go for the first topic of our course is HTML. Like that I'll continue. Here is my database. So here in the under this database, here I'm writing that database may be a Oracle database or a MySQL database or SQL Server database. We use any one of the database for connecting with our application. So our application has to connect with the database has to connect with server page has to give the output as again a front end page. Here front end page. So front end page it will give as the our output. Here front end page is our output. Here is our front end page. Server page has to interact with a front end page has to interact with the server page, then we'll get the output for our program. Let me save. Here front end always will get the output as a front end only. So we are using here HTML. HTML mainly create the structure for web page. HTML is completely a tag based programming. So what is the use with the CSS? Only with HTML, what type of output we can create? Let's see. Here, only if I use only HTML, here I'm using only HTML. What type of outputs I can create it? See, only I can write anchor tag or a frame tag or a form tag. Here we can create that input elements. Here input elements, this type of input elements, username, password, email ID, this type. See, there is no alignment. Just only content is there. So application form we can create it, but there is no alignment for the application. Without CSS, if you create your application like this, so it will show you all the list of contents, but there is no alignment. All the list items it is showing here. So using unordered list. And then here we are showing that one scrolling content, one is scrolling towards right, one is left, one is right, and scrolling down. Next images and videos, audios, all we can display it, but there is no alignment for the for this HTML. So if we use the CSS, what happened? So I'm using here CSS2. If we use the CSS, what happened here? See, CSS, using that CSS, we can create here float property. Here, using that float property, you can align it left alignment, right alignment, center, and menus. Here we can show you that list of menus. Here content is changing here. Contact page, about page. So like that we can create all these pages. Here contact page, about page, like that we can create multiple pages here. So contact page, about page, all these pages we can create it by using HTML. HTML mainly create the structure for web page, and CSS is giving the alignment for the web page. So alignment of a web page we can create it. Alignment of a web page we can create it by using this HTML. So HTML is providing the alignment. Alignment of a web page. Alignment of a web page we can create it using this HTML. So now alignment of a web page is because of CSS. I'll use this Visual Studio Code for writing the program. So before tomorrow's session, you try to install this Visual Studio Code for start writing the programs. Okay. So if you are able to write your program here, then if you want to run your program, if you want to run this program here, if you want to show this live server option, for that go to this extension here. In under this you can see here live server. So here you will find this type of install button. When you click on install, then only after writing your HTML application, if you right click here, you can see that run on live server option. Live server is mainly without refreshing your page, you can show the output. So live server is mainly used to check the output without refreshing the page. Without refreshing the page, we'll get that output because of this live server. So we can show you that output like this. Here, mainly using this live server, we can get that output. Here, we are using here a default browser, live server, these many options we can show. Here, mainly usage of CSS is we can show you background colors and border colors, border radius. This, see here, this way we can write multiple colors for the background. We can write it by using CSS. Here, if we use that position property and menu bars also, we can create it. Here, overlapping of content. So something like 3D effect. Overlapping of div tags or any tag, you can show like this. See here, content is moving backside of this div tags. Here, this is possible by CSS. So we can also create the menu bar here. Menu bar say, see, main menu, and we can write submenus. Main menu and submenu. This way we can create the main menu and submenu items. We can create it using this CSS. So mainly we use CSS for background colors and alignment of the content, and this way. Okay. Here they'll start sending that recordings here in this folder. Here, once you contact the organizer, they'll give you this folder, what they have created for us. Here in that Google, you can see the drive option, Google Drive. Here in Gmail, they'll share you one drive. In that drive, here I'll share that drive option here. They will share the drive option, drive accessing to you. You can see all the recordings what I have done for 6 a.m. They'll upload here 7 a.m. what we have done these 2 days of sessions. They'll upload here those 2 days, and along with that what I have explained for 6 a.m. So all the recordings you can see there. Okay, here sending link is not the matter. Getting the accessing is important. You try to contact organizer, they will share you how to get the accessing of this drive. If I send only link, you cannot access. They have to give permission to see that recordings. Okay. Yes. And who are not registered with the organizer, if they get registration, if they contact the organizer, then only they'll share that tomorrow's link. Tomorrow's link will change. Okay. So here try to connect today with the organizer. Yeah. Here HTML mainly creating the structure of a web page. So what is the use with the CSS? CSS is mainly used for cascading style sheet. CSS is nothing but it's a cascading style sheet. So mainly usage of the CSS is we can write a style tag. So mainly we write the style tag for writing the CSS. Here inside that we write the CSS attributes. CSS attributes are for body tag sake or for a text box sake, for what sake we want to write the CSS, that related CSS we can see here. So under this CSS is nothing but it's a cascading style sheet. So cascading style sheet. So we can get that CSS means background border, border radius. So background effect, background colors and the border colors, and here background border, then here it is background border and border radius. Like that we have all text related properties and 2D 3D transformation effects, all we can create it, linear gradient color, radial gradient colors, all we can create it by using this CSS 2 and 3. Next, we'll go for the next topic, JavaScript. So what is the use with the JavaScript? If I use the JavaScript, what type of output I can create it? So JavaScript also we write it inside the HTML page only. But if you use that JavaScript, what type of output you can get? See, here under this JavaScript, you can see here animate page, cookie page, like that we can create all pages here. So animate page we can create it here, animation page. See, if you need the animation here, we can show you different type of images we are showing here. This is because of animate effect in JavaScript. And this is also you can create it using Jquery. This stuff you can create it by using Jquery also. Here cache and events, mouse over event, mouse out event, click event, all we can create it here. See, if I double click it, double click option, you can see. See, this is one single click. Here it is a submission. So we are submitting and redirecting to some other page. So submit option is used for submission. Here click and double click, what output we can see. See, in the console you can print that output. See, mouse over is one output. So how many times I'll mouse over, those many times it will show you. See here, mouse over, mouse out, mouse over, mouse out. See, you can see these many outputs because of mouse over, mouse out. Okay, here if I double click it, so I'm double clicking on it. Here you can see that double click option. Next here, click option. How many times will click it, those many times you can see that click. Here number of clicks you can see here. This way, events, all events we can show you like this. And model boxes also we can create it. Map, we can using this, we can connect with longitude, latitude, and we can display that map. But because of security reason it is not showing, but here it is showing what is your longitude, latitude. It's showing that Germany and UK related map here. So using map, within one single image you can click it. See, this particular area is referring sun, this is Venus, this is Mercury. See here, Venus, that is venus.html. Here it is mercury.html. Here it is redirecting. Here when you click it, sun.html. I am showing another image here actually, but if you click it, you can redirect. You can redirect. That is possible because of map tag. So we are connecting with the Google API. We are passing longitude, latitudes there. Based on that, we are getting that output. Here we can show you that output like this. Then local storage, history of the browser we can maintain here. Operators we can see here. Session storage we can do. Variables we can do here. Timeout function we can create it here. Session storage we can create it here. So these all the thing we can create it using here. Click. Here how many times you will click it, it will maintain that session storage. It will store it in the sessions and we can access it. So this way we can use the JavaScript. So JavaScript is mainly used for validation purpose, events purpose. So mainly functionality. Functionality of browser functionality of browser we can create it by using JavaScript. So using this JavaScript we can create mainly functions. So in these functions, so we can create cookies, we can write events, we can write here, we can write events, we can write cookies, we can write write events, we can write cookies, we can write sessions, session storage, local storage, we can create a local storage, session storage. Like that, we can create so many things under JavaScript. So mainly validation purpose, validations, data validation, basic validations, and submit events, mouse over event, mouse out event, etc. We can create it using JavaScript. So JavaScript is nothing but mainly functionality of the browser. So JavaScript, we usually write it inside the script tag. So inside the script tag only, we usually write the JavaScript code, and it is also a object-oriented programming. Here we'll discuss what all the object-oriented rules, what is a number function, what is a number native function, native objects we have. We'll discuss about that under JavaScript. Object-oriented programming, class-based object-oriented programming, and prototype we discuss here under this JavaScript. Next one is here. Under JavaScript, we can see this type of outputs. Next one, how to use JavaScript we are using here. Here JavaScript we are using here. By that we can create our application like this. So next, what is the use with the HTML4 and HTML CSS3? See, if we use the HTML5, so HTML5 and CSS3, what happen if you use the HTML5? So you can create video audios, you can create SVG tag, we can create canvas tag, app cache we can maintain, and all input elements also we can write. Extra input elements we have here, and we have a map tag. With that map tag also we can create our application. Okay, so with that map tag we can create our application like this. Yeah, here app cache we can maintain here. Other HTMLs all we can other.html. Under this you can see here we can create one dialog box. This is actually normally a dialog box. Here date and time attribute we can create. So different date calendars we can create it here. Date including time. Here date along with that time also we can write it here. So by that particular time you can show. Here progress bars we can show to the user, and here detail tag, it is the details of that item. Here only list items we can create it using HTML4. HTML5 is giving that list item with the details, that is summary tag. So we can create summary tag here, and headings, all types of headings we can create it here. So all headings and items and all we can create it here using this this particular thing. Okay, we can create using HTML. We can create all the list of stuff. So now next topic, what is the use with the HTML5 and CSS3 is an enhancement. Just existing content sake, we have extra added tags we have, that we'll discuss under CSS3 and HTML5. Yesterday I showed you using CSS3. If I use that item, see when you mouse over on it, it is changing that width and height and top and left and width and height, it is changing, and it's showing shadow effect. Here it is rotated, this div tag is rotated in a 2 dimension. Here if I write it here, X direction, it is changing. X direction and width also it is changing. Like this we can create, and we can create that animate type of effect. Animation effect we can create it here. See, because of this animation, the div tag is changing its position and changing its colors. This way we can create our application. Here growing string also, flex growing option. Here how you want to use that flex attribute. So like that, without width and height, without float property, we can create this type of display property for display property. This type of display property we can create it here with this display flex property. So that is under CSS3. Under CSS3 we discuss that. Next one is Jquery. So Jquery is nothing but it's a JavaScript library. It's a library of JavaScript, external library of external lib of JavaScript. So jQuery is nothing but it's an external library of JavaScript. So under this jQuery, we'll add that jQuery file for our program. Just we add, we'll download one jQuery. Present one is 3.6.1.js or min.js is the present JS file. And like that, we have so many jQuery files. So in that jQuery.com, you can see so many jQuery files. jQuery cycle.js, jQuery, here we can write here jQuery cycle.js, jQuery ripple.js, and then jQuery. Here it is jQuery ripple.js, jQuery cycle.js, jQuery. Other files are jQuery cycle.js, jQuery ripple.js, jQuery UI.js. Like that, we have different jQueries. We use that for developing application. Depends on our application, we use that jQuery. See, if you use the jQuery cycle, you can show that cyclic rotation of images. And that too, fading effect, zooming effect, shuffling effect, curtain effect, turn down effect, like that. See, here it is fading. One image to another image, it is fading and showing that output. If you want to show that zooming effect for this, here again it starts from the beginning. Here we can show you that zooming effect here. See that image is going back and another image is coming front. It is zoom effect. Here shuffling effect, shuffling of images, we can create it here. That shuffled images we can create it here. See, shuffling effect, we can create it like this. This is shuffle. Next, curtain X. So that image to image, one image to next image, that is a curtain X. Here, turn down. See, it is coming down. The next image will come down. See, the delay gap also we can maintain here. So for this type of effect sake, we are not writing total JavaScript code. Just we are using existing jQuery file for our program. And here you can see that code here. Just we are using that jQuery code, jQuery cycle.js file we are adding for our application. By that, automatically we can create that application like this. Here is my jQuery. See here, jQuery 3.6.0.min.js. We are adding that jQuery file for our library. In similar way, jQuery cycle.js, all.js also we are adding to our library. So by that, we can create that jQuery file here. So whenever we click on that or a double click on it here, jQuery slideshow, we can create it here. Slideshow means it is a cyclic rotation of images. We can create it by this. Here effects means zoom. Here delay time is 2000. So like this, we can show you jQuery slideshow. Just by adding cycle method, the cycle method is related to this jQuery. So we can add that from the jQuery library. You can add it, or you can download this file from that link. You can use it. So by that we can show you that slideshow effect. Same way, chaining effect. Chaining effect means multiple transition effects I want to show here. Chaining, when I click on it, see it changed its position in a 2-dimension, and here it is changing slide up, slide down. Then it's changed its position from left and it's changing its width. This type of effect we can continue here. Once again, if we click it, again it will slide up, slide down, and then once the slide down is completed, then it will move from the left. Top position we are not changing, only left position we are changing, and width of that div tag we are changing. So this way we can write the chaining effect, jQuery chaining effect, some type of animation. Next, show and hide. Show and hide effect. Here hide, slowly hiding, then show. Here slowly it is displaying that item. Here toggling effect. Toggling, fast and slow. You can write the parameter, slide up, slide down, slide toggle. Slide toggle, both purpose. Fade in, fade out. Fade in, fading effect. Fade toggle. So both effects. Fade toggle. Here fade to. So transparency of the color changed. Here CSS. I want to change the CSS positions and border effects for this. Here right. I want to write the content in all places. I'm writing inside the div tag. I'm writing here. I'm writing here in all text boxes, buttons, radio buttons, all we are doing here. Set attr. I'm setting the attributes. Here there is an image tag, but there is no image. When I write the set attr, I'm assigning with 1.jpg like that. Here animate. By that, here it is showing that animation effect. So it's changing its position of that div tag. If div tag is changing its position, that is what animation effect. Here before that a particular image, you can add the content. After that, you can append the content and append. Before that image, you can add some content. After the image, you can add some content, and before, after, append. So this way we can show the output. Here prepend. By that also we can show you that output. Append and prepend is used for displaying that output. Here this way we can show the jQuery. So mainly jQuery is used for chaining effect and all. Here mainly jQuery is used for validation purpose, ripple.js, like that we can add that jQuery. Here rippling effect, water rippling effect you can see here, but it is not showing. That image, if I change it, you can show that water rippling effect. This way we can use that jQuery. jQuery is an external library of JavaScript. We can implement validation, we can implement events, we can write on submit event, and we can write water rippling effect, water ripple effect. We can write water ripple effect, and we can write the cyclic rotation of image rotation, cyclic image rotations, and we can create the drag and drop effect. We can write the drag and drop effect, and we can write external all cyclic rotations, all types of effects we can create it using this jQuery. jQuery is mainly used for this purpose. So next to move on to the next topic, that is what Ajax. Ajax is nothing but, here I'm giving brief information of all the content what I'm going to cover it in our course. So who joined for today? So for them also you can easily understand. Here jQuery HTML4, CSS2, JavaScript, HTML5, CSS3, jQuery, responsive design, Bootstrap. This is my content to cover. So here mainly HTML, what it will create, CSS, what it will create, JavaScript, what it will create. Like that I'm discussing brief information of each content. And here I explained what is the use of front end. So how, if you want to design a web page, how we have to design it, that information I explained here. Here only with HTML we cannot create a complete web page. Here after completion of this UI basic codes, if you learn frameworks here, present market is looking for the framework level. So if you complete the framework, then you can easily enter into market as a front-end developer. Either Angular or React or Node, any one framework, you can choose it and you can go for it. Here duration of this course is here 30 to 40 hours. So sorry, 35 to 40 hours of sessions. 35 to 40 hours of sessions are required for to cover this content. To cover this content sake, I'll take 30 to 40 hours of sessions to cover this particular content. This content sake, it will take time. Here under this JavaScript, we can see here what is jQuery. You can see jQuery is nothing but external library of JavaScript. Ajax is nothing but it's asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Here it is asynchronous. Here it is the asynchronous JavaScript and XML. JavaScript and XML. It is a combination of JavaScript and XML. Here in this time, if you want to chat with any person without refreshing the entire page to server, we'll get the response. Ajax call time, again we write the JavaScript code with a combination with XML. It is a predefined object we have under JavaScript. Here if you are requesting for server, your client page is requesting for server, client will give you a response. But this time client has to wait until response comes. Here client and the server page here. So client has to wait until server response comes. Here that type of page we can call it as here synchronous call. Synchronous call means here we have to wait for the server response. What is meaning asynchronous? Asynchronous time. So here we have to wait for server response. So we have to wait for the server response. Here what is asynchronous? Asynchronous time. Here client is submitting their request to server page. Here this time client no need to wait. He can send any number of requests to server. Whenever the server free, it will give you response for our request. So whenever the server free, it will give you response for our request. So we can send any number of requests to server. We can send any number of requests to server. So this is what asynchronous call. So we now need to wait for the server response. So here this is what asynchronous. Asynchronous, here no need to wait for server response. Here we no need to wait for the server response if it is asynchronous. Here we can make that synchronous call and asynchronous call. Here asynchronous call time, we no need to wait for the server response. Here asynchronous call time, we no need to wait for the server response. So this is what asynchronous. Here we can make that synchronous call and asynchronous call. Here asynchronous call means we no need to wait for the server response. How can I understand we no need to wait for server response? Suppose if I want to check my sent mail, here it is synchronous call. Here if I want to check here, here amazon.com. Amazon. Here Amazon India, here under this, you can select any one of the item, but we have to wait until that item loads. Here I want to see that best sellers here. Best sellers, we have to wait until that best sellers page loads. Here we are waiting. This is synchronous call. If I want to check my mobiles here, see mobiles. I'm clicking on mobiles here. See. Yeah, you can see that complete mobile page is loaded here. Complete mobile page is loaded here. This way we have to wait. We have to wait for the server response until it loads. So this way we can create our application. Here we are getting that response here. Here we have to wait for the server response. Here we have to wait for the server response. Under this we are writing here our application. We can see that list of files here. So this time here if I click on that electronics, I can see that electronic goods here. If I click on that prime, so I can see that prime goods here. If I click on that new release, new releases. So I have to wait for it. So but if I want to chat with any person, suppose if I'm chatting here, if I want to check my sent mail or important mail, I have to wait until that page loads. You will get the document like this. 6 a.m. Students, how they are getting that items. Like that, you will get documents like this. 7 a.m. UI batch. Like this, you will get every day my files, my paint file and my document like this. If you don't get, once contact organizer, they will tell you how to get this document, how to get recordings. Okay. Here, if I want to chat with any person, I have to wait until he want to chat. Here, I want to chat with one person. Here, I want to chat with him. So when I say here, hi, so that hi message, it is not loading my entire page to server. Just it is giving like this. If I say here, hello, so sending now. See here, sending now. Just a few seconds. Here, I'm saying here, hello. See, sending now. It is not loading the entire page. And while chatting with this person, I can check my mails also. Start mails, sent mails. Like this, I can see. I can show the output. So this type of output sake, we have to use this. This one is a synchronous call. This one is the asynchronous call. Can you find difference between synchronous and asynchronous? Can you find difference between synchronous and asynchronous? Yes, are you able to follow my session?
Yes, Shweta, like it is like wait and update and before it is synchronous, right? Yeah.
Yes. So we have to wait in the synchronous process. In asynchronous process, we no need to wait. Yes, Neha, Rahul, Sankir, Kirti, Alekia, are able to follow my class? Or am I going fast? Yes. Chat.
Yeah, I think this is fine, but I have one doubt, Shweta here. So whenever
Yes.
we like use any these front-end technologies,
Yeah.
so suppose I design like at the front end from and to date.
Okay.
So whenever I submit this one, so I need to get
Yeah.
somehow like 10 or 20 records present at the back end.
Okay.
That records I need to display again at the front end.
Yeah.
So from which technology I can achieve like this requirement?
Every technology, every front end, you are connecting with server to database. So that server, maybe you may use any page. That is what pagination. If you connect with a server, you can show that number of records will be updated there. Number of records will be updated. So every time link will change. That is synchronous call only. You will get the number of recordings. I'll show you if I find the time. I'll show you in the next next session. I'll show you how we are connecting. How we are. If I have 1,000 employees in my page, so I want to show every time 50 records. See, even if you check here in Gmail also, we are showing here every time it is showing some number of mails. So if I want to check for further, I have to click on the next button. See, first 50 it is showing out of 80, 88, 81. If I click on that next, this is what pagination. So it is showing that second page. It is loading and it is changing here. See here P2. It is synchronous call. Here it is connecting with a database and getting that result. Select star from EMP, select star from inbox. Mail ID is limit of 50. So every 50. Second time it will be 50 to 100. Third time it will be 101 to 150. Like that, number of records it will change. Accessing of number of records it will change. That is based on that server side code and using database. Front end just only displaying using table time. Clear?
Yeah, okay. But from the front end is you have shown some tool that Visual Studio.
Yeah,
That
that
is
is front
free
end
available,
only.
right? Yeah,
Free
that is front
available.
end.
It is only for writing the code. It is an editor for writing the code. Front end code.
So like so how to practice for this backend also? Like is there any like paid server like that?
You server technologies you have to learn. Any one server languages. PHP or Java or .NET or Python.
Okay.
If you want to be a full stack developer, you have to learn front end, server side and database and testing. All take care by single resource in the company.
Okay. No, like now I'm asking to practice our like within this UI technologies only. With this front end
UI
tool, it is not
technologies.
possible to. Yeah.
Not actually, I'll tell you little bit PHP code, but I don't go with I don't explain about PHP related things. But I'll explain you PHP related code. I won't explain, but I'll use that code and I'll explain to you how to get to that pagination, displaying of record, Ajax call without submission. That I'll show you.
Okay.
In server side code, I'll use it. Server side code, I'll use it. I'll show you that output in the front end. Front end, how to access the server side code, I'll explain to you. But we don't enter inside the server code. If you want to learn server code, choose your another course as Java or .NET or PHP or Python, like that, etc.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Understand.
Server side languages, if you know, you can create it. So up to now, I explained about what is Ajax and the synchronous call and asynchronous call. So in the tomorrow's session, I'll explain you what is responsive design, Bootstrap, lessons as. There is 3 topics. What is the use of, yeah. So I'll explain now itself, just 5 minutes. Here, responsive design, Bootstrap and lessons as. Just a brief information I'll give you. Tomorrow I'll start directly HTML. How to write HTML4 related tags I'll explain to you in the tomorrow session and day after tomorrow session. Okay. Yes. Here, what is responsive design? Responsive design is nothing but here we are showing that gmail.com in desktop, in mobile, in tab. In all devices, how we can show the output. In all devices, how we can show the output, that is what we'll do here. If you go with the Bootstrap, sorry, if you go with the responsive design, this responsive design time will learn how we can all compatible to all devices. Compatible to all devices. If you are developing any application, that should be work in all devices. All devices, it has to work in this, it has to give the same type of output. Means if I'm checking my output in a tablet, if I'm checking my output in the mobile, if I'm checking my output in the desktop, or I may check my output in the laptop. So desktop means it may be resolution may change. I may use LEDs, I may use projectors, anything. Here laptop. So in all devices, how we are showing that output, in future it another compatible, another size and another resolution device may come. In all resolutions, how we can show the output, that comes under responsive design. Next, Bootstrap. Bootstrap is nothing but it's a front-end framework. So we no need to write any code from the scratch. Directly we can use here. It's a framework of ready-made architecture. Framework is nothing but it's a framework of HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So ready-made files will be available for us. So here in GitHub, you can download bootstrap.min.js file and bootstrap.min.css file. So by using these files, if you download these files for our project, we can directly make our web page as a responsive web page. Responsive web page, we can create it and we can create a fast development. So fast development of the application. We no need to write any code from the beginning. So fast development of application, we can do it by using Bootstrap. Next one is, here it is about responsive design. Next it is about the Bootstrap. So next one is here lessons as. So usage of that lessons as. So lessons as is nothing but here it is a superset for CSS. So in CSS we have got the new variables and we can declare variables, we can write functions. So we can write functions, we can write mixins, can write including one CSS with another CSS to remove that redundancy. So this is mainly these all things we can do it in CSS by using this lessons as. It is a preprocessor of CSS. So it is mainly a preprocessor of CSS. We'll discuss what is lessons as in the sessions. So this is about the brief information of each technology, what I'm going to teach you for our course. And parallelly, if you are interested, if you want to complete that all UI technologies soon, you can parallelly start your class. After once I start the JavaScript, 3rd week onwards, you can start parallelly any one of the JavaScript frameworks, either Angular or React or Node.js, whatever the requirement according to your near and dears will tell you what is the current requirement on React or Angular. Depends on that company requirement, you can go for it. Either Angular or React or Node.js or Vue.js. Like that, we have so many JS frameworks. And every day I'll teach. Suppose I'm teaching here HTML4 related documents I'll send to you. And once the topic is over, I'll give you one task. And every Saturday, so once I start the JavaScript, that day onwards, I'll start, that week onwards, I'll go with the Saturday session. So until that, no Saturday sessions. Once I start JavaScript, that day onwards, I'll go with the Saturday session. Every Saturday, I'll take one example, one real-time example, and we'll try to make it out. We'll try to make it out that real-time example using what we have discussed in that week. That week knowledge will develop one application. So at the end of the course, we'll use all together. We'll use all these technologies. Based on all these technologies, we'll develop one more application. Like that our class goes, and a class should be interactive. If you don't get subject, if you don't get my voice or a screen, let me know on time, and don't wait for the completion of the class, and don't wait for my questions. Okay, you whenever you get any difficulty, please let me know in the classroom itself. By that I can rectify it. And if I go fast also, if you're not able to understand my session also, you have to inform in the class itself. No, you don't feel like other student will get disturbed like that. Don't feel like that. So this class is attending for your sake. So you have to ask. You have to ask. If you ask, then only you can understand. Otherwise, that other student may understand, may not understand. But if you ask, no? So other who are having that same doubt, they can get clarified. At least for them sake, ask the doubts. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, okay,
any
so
more?
yeah, please don't mind. I will ask like, what is this framework like? See, this UI is I have understood from this session, but what that is this framework will do? You said
Framework is a
whenever we,
ready-made. Yes, framework is a ready-made architecture. This JavaScript code, actually, to fast development sake, we have a ready-made structures. Every application sake, we have submit button. No? So every application sake, we have to, every web application sake, we have to write, create account, login account. So common things what we have, that common functionalities they created in the ready-made structure, that is in the form of framework. Framework meaning itself is ready-made architecture. So some ready-made architecture is available for us. We can run our JavaScript code in the Node server. In Angular time, in React time, in Node.js time, we use one more server called Node server. That is for front end. That Node server, in that Node server, we'll execute our JavaScript code. We'll learn TypeScript if you go with the Angular. So there is an extension of the functionalities you will learn in the Angular or React or Node.js.
okay.
Clear,
Okay.
Pavan?
Yeah, clear.
Yes, Akelya, Alekia, Neha, Rahul, Sankirti. You're not involving in class. Yes, any more doubts? No, Rahul said no. So you all people are okay to come at 6:30 tomorrow onwards? Yeah. So every day it will be 6:30 to 7:30. When that will be the fixed time. So if all students feel good, then if it possible, we'll change the time to 6 to 7. If Neha's class is over, no, so all other students are ready. Only Neha, you are whenever you are ready for 6 a.m. let me know. So once your classes are over, before class is over, then let me know. So by that we'll change the time to 6 a.m. Okay. So if all our feels good, we'll change the time to 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. So 1 hour early only we can finish our class. And Saturday it will be 6 a.m. to not every Saturday, not this Saturday. From once I start JavaScript, that day onwards, every Saturday we'll sit 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. we will be in the project session. Okay. Yeah. So this week we'll continue on HTML4. Next week we will be in the HTML. Middle of the week we'll enter into CSS. Then next week completely half week in HTML, half week in CSS, CSS2, HTML4 and CSS2. Then next third week of our course we'll enter into JavaScript. So that Saturday onwards you can plan it for our class. So before that, I won't take any Saturday session, but plan according to third Saturday. According to our content, we'll go Saturday session. That's it. Any more queries?
No,
Okay.
no. Swetha.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow at 6:30. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So how to contact this